Hi, Ranga.
Hello, Gopal. Morning.
Morning, Ma.
Okay. Thank you for coming. You're on. Okay.
Now we are on YouTube live, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Understood.
Sir, now 11 o'clock you can start, sir. Sound வரல sir. Audio கேட்கல.
Good morning, friends. This is Ranganathan again this week. Last 2 weeks, we saw the 20th century was full of activities on the Japanese front, and Japan has brought out through their postal services stamps depicting people, personalities, places, and activities that took place during 20th century. The third part of it will be present today as theme number 16 today. Now, this is the 20th century from series number 12 to 17. Okay. This is one of the pictures that I took when I went last time to Tohoku region. This is the 20th century stamp series 12. Each of the series has got a sheet and has got 10 stamps, out of which few are as settlement. Few means sometimes 2 pairs of settlements or only 1 pair of settlement compulsorily, and the rest are all single stamps. We'll be looking into each one of the stamps. These stamps are released. This series 12 was released on the 21st July 2001. It has got both 50 yen and 80 yen stamps. Now, these stamps cannot be taken out and sold in the post office. You have to buy a sheet and then take it. The stamps, what they depict is given here, like the dog that survived and all that. You can see the down below the pink color thing. The designs are being expected, here explained. All the 10 stamps have been explained here. And then they're all printed in photograph view. And totally you have 10 stamps, and each one of them individually are 56 millimeters by 37 millimeters, 28 millimeters by 37 millimeters. As a Saturn, and they are 56 by 37 millimeters. Okay. Now let's go into the stamps. Now, the first, we are going with the Saturn. The Sakhalin is what they call it, though it is written as Sakhalin. It is Sakhalin. Sakhalin Huskies, Taro and Jiro. Sakhalin Huskies are ancient Russian sledge dogs, primarily found in the Amur River region, the island of Sakhalin, where they are, of course, get their name just north of Japan. Okay. For the native peoples in this region, the strong, smart, durable dogs with their big pads that did not sink in the snow were essential to transport. In January 1957, the Japanese Antarctica research expedition called JARE needed a sledge dog to accompany its researchers with the Sakhalin Husky, or Karafuto. Karafuto is Ken, as the Japanese call them, or easy choice. That is, Karafuto is light-footed, don't sink into the snow. The conditions, as you would expect, were brutal in Antarctica, and the dogs became essential part of the researchers' survival. In February 1958, the crew was ready to go after the replacement once they arrived, but the replacement crew's ship was stuck. This became a rescue mission of the people, not a replacement mission, but a rescue mission, and they were to be rescued by the American helicopters, in which there was no room for the dogs, as there were 15 dogs were there. The JARE team has to leave the dogs behind, and because they have to leave it in spite of the fact they have to leave them in the harsh Antarctica, and they were their companions for the whole year there, with no other go, and with order that they could go back and get the dogs back soon. In order that they could be rescued later, and they do not have To escape, the dogs were chained next to the food because they kept some food, and also chained the dogs. They don't escape and then leave, and then they don't have the search. The team was heavily criticized in Japan by the public because for leaving the dogs. Dogs are, Japanese like dogs. If you see Japanese history, there have been a number of dogs that has performed very closely to people. The new team arrived only after 11 months at Antarctica. They found 7 dogs dead and 18 of them were missing out of the total 15 dogs. Now let's go to the next slide. It is a miracle they found 2 of them, Taro and Jiro, after 11 months, as these dogs survived without food. The harsh condition, maybe they ate the fish or something there at the thing. Only they expected. These dogs in these conditions survived only for maximum 1 month, but they survived there for 11 months, and it is considered as a miracle. And they were the youngest of the 15 dogs. The dogs were equally happy to see people. As working dogs, after the initial excitement was over, they continued working with the replacement team of Huskies. Sadly, the younger brother Jiro, he would never see Japan again. Okay, he had a disease in Antarctica and he died there at the age of 5. Taro, meanwhile, made it through the final session and in 1961 finally returned home, where he lived in Hokkaido University and died at the age of 15. Taro and Jiro became national heroes. So they find a place in the 20th century stamp sheet. Commemorative coins, silver coins, were also printed for them, each value of 500 yen, silver coins. And also, if you see in the port of Nagoya, the Aichi port, Nagoya port, the statue of these 2 dogs in the front on a monument, and the ship they went to do the research in Antarctica called the Fuji, that is standing at the back. They are still there in the thing. People remember these 2 dogs for their great sacrifice they have done for the research. Now, wedding of the Crown Prince Akihito, 1959. Now the prince became emperor, and he also abdicated for the son to take over as emperor in the new Reiwa era. In 1959, Crown Prince Akihito married Michiko Shoda, a Catholic. It was the first imperial wedding to be televised in Japan, drawing about 15 million viewers. Upon the death of his father, Emperor Showa, in 1989, Akihito succeeded to the chrysanthemum throne. National fascination with the prince's wedding was due. It is due to Michiko's status as a commoner, known from the royal family or the imperial family, as you call, and a move that broke the 2,000 years of tradition was broken by the prince marrying a commoner. Okay, of course, the emperor and the empress, they both were in Chennai. They visited them in Chennai. I was very lucky to get an invitation for a personal audience with them. And I shook hands with both of them and spoke to them in Japanese. It was one of the most memorable moments of my life. Now, next you see is Konnichiwa Akachan, Hello Baby by Azusa Michio. It is 1964. Azusa, whose real name was Michio Hayashi. Most of the people who write, sing, and do all that, they always take another stage name or another popular name to make them popular, or name that made them popular, or they made the name popular, whatever it is. Made a debut after graduating from the prestigious Takarazuka Music School in Hyogo Prefecture. She won the Japan Record Award 1963 for her record called Konnichiwa Akachan. Akachan is a baby, they call good afternoon, hello, have a great day, baby, like that, which she performed on the national television NHK program that year. The lyrics of the song were written by the late television and radio writer Ryosuke Ei. In February 2020, she was found dead at the age of 76. Now, Sukiyaki, another song by Japanese Colonel Q, Sakamoto, 1960. Ueni muite haruko. Let's look up and walk. Or while walking, let's look up. Whatever way. Alternatively titled Sukiyaki. Sukiyaki is the name of one of the dishes. So don't. This song was called a Sukiyaki. It's a song by Japanese Kyo Sakamoto, first released in Japan in 1961. The song topped the charts of a number of countries, including US Billboard Hot 100 in 1963. The song grew to become one of the world's best-selling singles of all time, selling over 13 million copies worldwide. The lyrics tell the story of a man who looks up and whistles while he is walking so that his tears will not fall down, with the verse describing the memories and feelings. That's the thing. Let's look up and walk. Then Ryomo ga Yoku by the author Shiba Ryotaro, 1962. Ryotaro Shiba, born in Teichi, Fukuda, was a Japanese author best known for his novels about the historical events in Japan and the Northeast Asian subcontinent, whatever is the important story. He is a great historical writer, as well as his historical and cultural essays pertaining to Japan and its relationship with the rest of the world. Okay, one of his best-known works called Ryoma Goes His Way is a historical novel about Sakamoto Ryoma, samurai. He was a samurai, and then he was very much instrumental in the time of throwing away the Edo government, and instrumental in bringing about Japan's Meiji Restoration. Okay, after which values and elements from Western culture were introduced into the country. So Tokugawa clan, their close circuit or close country was brought to an end. One of those people who fought for that was this Ryoma. The history knows him very well there. Tokyo Osaka high-speed bullet train service, 1964. 1964 is also the time of the Tokyo Olympics. The Tokaido Shinkansen, as it is called, began service on 1st October 1964, in time for the first Tokyo Olympics. The conventional limited express service took 6 hours and 40 minutes from Tokyo to Osaka. But the Shinkansen made at that time a trip in just 4 hours. Today it makes it in 2.5 hours and shortened to 3 hours and 10 minutes by 1965. It enabled day trip between Tokyo and Osaka. Somebody goes in the morning to Osaka, does his business, and then he or she can come back in the evening home. The two largest metropolitans in Japan, one is the financial capital of Japan, like Mumbai, that's Osaka, significantly changed the style of business and life in Japanese people and increased new traffic demand. And the service, it's not cheap. Shinkansen is expensive, but it always runs full. There are 16 compartments. It is supposed to be one of the, maybe not the one of the longest fast train. There are high-speed trains running all over the world, but Shinkansen is the longest of all the high-speed trains that are running in the world. The service was an immediate success, reaching the 100 million passengers by 1967, 13th July. The very interesting thing is the power is distributed along with trains' axles to reduce their heavy axle loads under the single power car. Most of the trains that go slow, they have only one power axle. The rest are all just compartments which are pulled. So my management gurus, my teachers say, Shinkansen is a good example of management where power is distributed in every compartment. There's a driving axle. Therefore, power is distributed to make it more efficient. So if in an organization, if people know how to distribute power, they make the organization more efficient and also profitable. Now, next is Isaiwan Vera typhoon. Typhoon, you know, it's equivalent to our cyclone, but much larger scale. Typhoon Vera, also known as Isaiwan typhoon, was exceptionally intense tropical cyclone that struck Japan on September 1959, becoming the strongest and deadliest typhoon on record to make landfall in the country as the low end Category 5 equivalent storm. The storm intensity resulted in catastrophic damage of unparalleled severity and extent. And it's a major setback to the Japanese economy, which was still recovering from World War II. The aftermath of Vera, Japan disaster management and relief systems were significantly reformed. That's one good advantage of out of evil cometh good. Now, 20th century also saw Tokyo hosting the first Olympic. There are two Olympics. One is 1964. Other one was supposed to be in 2020, which became 2021, thanks to the COVID. Official poster 64. Okay, in February 1961, the first official poster was published. The first of a series of 4. These 4 posters were to be seen widely throughout the world. Were one, rising sun and the Olympic emblem. The star of the sprinter's dash. Third, butterfly swimmer. Fourth is the Olympic torch runner. All the 4 were designed by Yusaku Kamekura, and for number 2 onwards, he had the cooperation of Messrs. Osamu Hayasaki and Joe Murokoshi as staff photographer. As these posters were in multicolored poster view, a distinct technical accomplishment for Japan's printing industry, the quality of printing was subjected to favorable comments both at home and abroad, and the posters themselves received a number of prizes for their excellence, including Milan Poster Design Award. The Olympic torch runner selected to adorn this poster series was an athlete called Tanaka of Jutendo University track and field team. Now that brings us to series number 13. We've got a very unique stamp of 2 circles merging together. It's a very unique stamp that you see. That is given as a Saturn and pair. It's a commemorative stamp issued on 23rd of August 2000. And of course, this size is 64 millimeters by 31 millimeters and photogravure. And it's a Saturn and pair in the 10 stamp. Balance are all single stamp. We'll see the history behind all these stamps. The single stamps, the size and other things are given. That is 28 by 37 millimeters. That is what I've given on the side also. Now, this stamp has got 2 characters of Hayakuri and Hayato Jima. Hayakuri is a pumpkin island. I mean, it's all written mostly for children to enjoy. Hayakuri Pumpkin Island is a kids show with the puppets appear in the film Only Yesterday, directed by Isao Takahata of Studio Ghibli. The title means Flowing Pumpkin Island. Okay, the show aired in 1960s. The song called Morning Musume no Hayakuri Hayaton Jima, the theme song for the beloved 1960 afternoon children's show titled Hayakuri Hayojima, Hayatan Jima, Island of Unexpected Contradictions is the meaning of that, with those old style puppets. Okay, debuting in 1964 for a 5-year run. Okay, Yoko Mayakawa and Hibri children, chorus, song, and chirpy theme of the NHK program is written by creators Isahi Inoue and Morishita Yamamoto and composed by Seiichiro Ono. In the early post-war years, Inoue first got his foot on the literary ladder, writing scripts for a striptease theater in downtown Tokyo as a university student. 1960, he created Hayakuri Hayaton Jima, a battleground island or Pumpkin Island, the children puppet adventure show that ran every week in NHK, launched up to 1,224 episodes between 64 and 69, 5 years run. The name of the Japanese has been translated in a number of ways. Here itself, I've shown you one. One is Pumpkin Island, other one is called Bottle God Island. So there are different ways of the launch of Ultraman. Well, Ultraman is what somebody calls it also there. television series 1966. That's the year and I graduated. So 66, I remember very well. Okay. And my friend, my classmate, Gopalakrishnan, who is watching, he also passed out with me in 1966. Ultraman is known as Ultra Series, a collective name for all the media produced by Subaraya Production, featuring Ultraman, his many brethren, and myriad Ultra Monsters. Debuting with Ultra Q and Ultraman in 1966, the Ultra series, one of the most prominent tokusatsu superhero genre produced productions from Japan. In Japan, the Ultraman brand generated $7.4 billion in merchandising revenue from 1966 to 1987, equivalent to more than 18 billion adjusted for inflation. Ultraman was world's third top-selling licensed character in the year 1980, largely due to his popularity in Asia. References to Ultraman are abundant in Japanese pop culture, much like references of Superman in US culture. J-pop, an abbreviation term of Japanese popular music, natively also known as simply as pops, is a musical genre that entered the musical mainstream in Japan in 1990. Modern J-pop has its roots in traditional Japanese music, but significantly 1960 pop and rock music, such as the Beatles and the Beach Boys, which led to Japanese rock bands such as Happy End fusing rock with Japanese music. The Happy End fusing rock with Japanese music. Japanese music in the early 1970s. Eventually, J-pop replaced Kayo Kyoku, lyric singing music, a term Japanese popular music from 1920 to 1980 in the Japanese music scene. Then we have two Nobel laureates for literature from Japan. One and only two Japanese have been awarded Nobel Prize for literature. Kawabata Yasunori Kawabata, and he received the award in 1968, Kenzaburo Oe in 1994. Many of Kawabata's works offer meditations on hopeless love and death. Famous works include Snow Country, Thousand Cranes, The Sound of the Mountain. The Nobel Prize Literature 1968 was awarded to Yasunori Kawabata for his narrative mastery with his great sensibility to express essence of Japanese mind. Kenzaburo Oe's novels, short stories and essays, strongly influenced by French and American literature. Oe was awarded Nobel Prize in Literature in 1994 for creating an imaginary world where life and myth condense to a form disconcerting picture of the human predicament today. That's what they both are given for. Now, this is my favorite, Otokawa Surayo, the toughest, it is tough being a man. This is a very interesting, humorous with pathos mixed thing. Otokawa Surayo, it's tough being a man, is a Japanese film series starring Kiyoshi Atsumi as Tora-san, a kind-hearted vagabond. He's a rolling salesman moving from prefecture to prefecture, who is always unlucky in love. Almost he'll be proposing, the marriage is about to go, but he'll always fail. That's how the story has been written. And when we are talking about those days, when I used to see this in the television, when I went for my training. So I was so fascinated. I bought all the complete set of Tora-san for our school. The series itself is often referred to Tora-san by his fan. Spanning 48 installments, released between 69 and 95. 2 films were usually made each year, one for summer, one for winter, and only from 1969 to 89, one for summer, one for film was made, but it was stopped. And 1990 to 95, only one film was made each year. That is Tora-san. The Tower of Sun in World Expo 1970 in Osaka. The Tower of Sun is a structure created by Japanese artist Taro Okamoto. It is known as the symbol of Expo 70, and currently Japanese preserve that located in the Expo Commemoration Park in Suita, Osaka Prefecture, in Japan. If you still go there, the park is still existing, and then there are some areas where you can still go and enjoy yourself, and you can see this structure welcoming you as you enter the park now. And then the tower has three faces, its front and back. The creator of Tower Okamoto named the tower as the Tower of Sun. The tower was open to public and visitors could enter inside during the expo, yet it was closed after the event. The gallery inside displayed huge artwork called by Tree of Life, which represented the evolution of creatures. Sensho wa Shiranai Kodomotachi by Jiro's 1971. The meaning is children who do not know anything about war. That's what many people say. During the war, how we struggled and how we come up. The current day boys and girls, they are all well pampered because the parents don't want their children to go through the same thing. So they say children who do not know war. Sensho Shiranai Kodomotachi is a 1971 single released by Japanese duo Jiros. Many Japanese take to singing and they have become very popular. Whatever they do it perfectly. So no wonder they hit the top already. Released on February 5th, 1971, it ranked 11th in the Oricon charts, selling total of 196,000 copies. The song was adapted into a movie with the same name. Though the duo never bore any affiliation to pacifist move, the song composed to express mild anti-war message, but later regarded as an indicator of the contempt felt by older generation who experienced World War II, the younger people born in post-war period. Now, color television, car, and air conditioner were three luxuries immediately after the war. And by 1964, the Japan economy has grown so robustly that 90% of all households in Japan owned all the three sacred treasures. Immediately after the war, they were the real, owning them was something. But by 1964, they become three sacred treasures: television, refrigerator, and washing. Then with the post-war economy picking up, the three treasures become color television, car air conditioner, and the phrase, the sacred treasures, Sansho no Jingi, Mitsuka no Kondankara, is a reference to the three items: a sword, mirror, and a jewel, which is supposed to be in the ancient days given to people of Japan by a goddess, and it is still preserved in one of the temples there. Okay, and that were brought from heaven and gained to the Japanese first emperor by the sun goddess. Now, series 14, it is issued on 2000, Heisei 12, and then it also got 80 yen stamps 8, and 50 yen 2 numbers, which are again a Saturn end. Saturn end stamps are 56 by 37. The individual stamps are 28 by 37. Then topics of the stamps are given separately, and each stamp's story behind is also explained separately. Let's look at them. Discovery of wall paintings in Takamatsu Tomb, Asuka Nara Prefecture. Asuka is a place, prefecture. Okay. Colorful wall paintings found inside an ancient tumulus in Nara Prefecture were shown to the media before Japan marked the 50th anniversary of their discovery. The murals, including those of Asuka Bijin. Bijin means beautiful woman. Asuka Bijin, beautiful woman, were found inside the Takamatsu tomb, Takamatsuka tomb in Nara village, Asuka, Western Japan on March 21st, 1972, during research by Archaeological Institute of Kashihara and others. The tumulus was built between the late 7th and early 8th century The murals are a designated national treasure. Later, the murals were found to have been severely damaged with the mold growing onto the surface. In 2007, a cultural affairs agency disassembled the tumulus stone compartment repair in Asuka. The repair work finished on March 2020. Return to the Japan administrative rights over Okinawa. Okinawa was under occupation by US immediately after the war. Before that, it was called as a Ryukyu Kingdom. Now, after the war, it was occupied by the Americans, and it was returned to the Japanese by 1972. So they got the 71, 72. They got the given. The Okinawa Reversion Agreement was an agreement between the United States and Japan in which the United States relinquished all rights and interests under the Article 3 of the Treaty of San Francisco. But still, Okinawa has got a very big American base, which really helps to protect Japan on the southern side, because Japan doesn't keep an army by itself. Okay, and maybe those rules will undergo a change as things are looking at with China threatening the world, and have been obtained as a result of Pacific War, and then thus returned the Okinawa Prefecture to Japan's sovereignty. The documents were signed simultaneously in Washington, D.C. and Tokyo on June 17, 1971. The document was not ratified in Japan until November 24, 1971. So by 1972, Japan got it. Giant pandas Lan Lan and Kong Kong. Kong Kong was born in China in 1970. Along with Lan Lan, they were the first pair of giant pandas in Ueno Zoo, gifted to Japan by China after the normalization of relations between the two countries. Kong Kong and Lan Lan caused an immediate sensation when they arrived in Japan. Subsequently, the so-called panda boom occurred in the country in 1974. Kong Kong and Lan Lan failed to give birth to babies. In January 1980, another female giant panda, Huan Huan, came to Japan from China to be Kong Kong's second bride. However, he died suddenly in a summer cold after 6 months. Okay, Erimo Misaki. Misaki is a cape, like Cape Comorin or any of those things. Okay, Kazuhiro Moriuchi, known professionally as Shinichi Mori, okay, is a Japanese male enka. Enka is the olden type of song singing. Okay, enka singer and composer who also sings folk and pop music. He has sold more than 90 million records, making him one of the best-selling Japanese musicians. His 1974 Japan Record Award-winning song, Yerimo Misaki, was composed by Takura Yoshida. In 1982 song, Funo Riveria, was composed by Eiichi Otaki. Cartoon series Uchusenkan Yamato by Matsumoto Reiji, 1974. Space battleship Yamato, it was called Cosmo Ship Yamato. And the Star Blazer is a Japanese science fiction anime series written by Nishizaki, directed by manga artist Leiji Matsumoto, and produced by Academy Production. The series aired in Yomiuri TV from October 6, 1974 to March 30, 1975, totaling up to 26 episodes. Space Battleship Yamato is one of the most influential anime series in Japan. Its turn towards serious themes and complex stories influence future works to be made in Japan. Now, coming to the Saturn and stamp that you saw with two of the players, baseball legends called Matsui, Hideki Matsui, Sandaru O, and Shigeo Nakashima served as Olympic torchbearers on the Friday night Tokyo as a part of the opening ceremony of the 2020, which has become a 2021 because of COVID. Nakashima played his most well-known game in June 25, 1959, when the Japanese emperor attended the baseball game for the first time. Nakashima made his professional debut in April 1958, struck out all 4 of his at bats against Masaichi Kaneda. Accidentally, O also struck out all of his bats. I'm sorry, I don't know this technical names of, technical side of the game, okay? And debut game against Kaneda. Regardless, Nakashima became the team's cleanup hitter mid-season, and the Giants won the championship. Satoru O is a Japanese-born former baseball player and manager in Japan. He holds a world lifetime home run record, like our runs that we have in the thing. They have the home run, connecting all the 4 bases is what we call as a home run, having 868 home runs during the professional career, which is a big number. Pope played his entire professional career with the Giants, and he was later their manager 1984 to 88. He was a manager of the Japanese national team in the inaugural World Baseball Classic. The Japanese team defeated Cuban national team for the championship. He is currently the chairman of the Hawks. Now, series number 15, if you see, this is released on the 23rd October 2000. And then again, this got 1 Saturn, and the balance are all single stamps that you see. And we'll be looking into the details of the stamps. And if you see, the Saturn is always like any other earlier Saturn, is 56 by 37, and the single stamps are 26 by 37 millimeters size. Launch of Kido Senshi Gundam, Kido Senshi Gundam, a serial TV program. Gundam is a Japanese military fiction media franchise, media mix, created by Tomino and Sunrise, New Bandai Namco Fire Filmworks. The franchise features giant robots or mecha with the name Gundam. The franchise began on April 7, 1979, with a Mobile Suit Gundam, a TV series featuring giant robots called Mobile Suits, a militaristic setting. The popularity of the series and the merchandise spanned a franchise that includes 50 TV series, films and manga, novels and video games, along with whole industry of plastic model kits known as Gunpla, which makes 90% of Japanese character plastic model market. Okay, Tomino is a Japanese mecha anime creator, anime and manga that feature robots called mecha in battle. Animator, director, screenwriter, songwriter, novelist, best known for creating Gundam anime franchise. He was born in Odawara, Kanagawa Prefecture, and studied in Nihon University College of Arts. Okay, Kido Senshi Gundam, or Aka Mobile Suit Gundam, is a science fiction media franchise created by Sunrise that features giant robots called mobile suits with titular mobile suits and carry the name Gundam. Jidai, a song by Nakajima Miyuki, 1975. Jidai is a 1975 song by Miyuki Nakajima. She redubbed 1993 for her album Jidai, Time Goes Around. A popular cover was also released by Hiroko Yokoshimiru in 1988. Haley Western translated it and sung it, and Haley sings Japanese songs in 2008. An instrumental version was used, the opening credits to Reiji Matsumoto series Cosmo Warrior Zero. It won Grand Prize of the World Popular Song Festival 1975. It was released as a single in December 1975 and sold over 2 million copies. In 2007, it was included in the Nihon no Uta Yaku Sen. It means 100 songs of Japan. Now, next is another song again, Oyage Taiyuki-kun, sung by Simone in 1975. Oyage Taiyuki-kun come on, sing Tayuki. Tayuki is the name of the fish. They're encouraging, motivating him to sing by the song. It's performed by Japanese singer Masato Shimon, released by Kenyan Records in 1975, December 25th. On a weekly chart, Oricon, it became the first single in the history to debut number one in January 5, 1976. It stayed there in position for 11 consecutive weeks. It ended up selling more than 4.5 million copies, becoming the best-selling song all the time in Japan, a milestone reflected in the Guinness Book of World Records. Despite this success, the company paid Simon only 50,000 yens, about $170 at the time of exchange rate. That's very interesting information that we have. Introduction to karaoke, most of you know karaoke. The Americans call this karaoke. Okay. Even before the innovation of the first mission, the word karaoke has long been used by Japan's entertainment industry to refer to the use of instrumental recording as backing tracks in situations when a live band could not be arranged for the singer. Japanese engineer Shigeichi Negishi, who ran a consumer electronics assembly business in Tokyo, made the first prototype in 1967. In 1971, nightclub musician Daisuke Inoue independently invented his own karaoke machine in the city of Kobe. His biggest contribution was understanding the difficulty amateurs had in singing pop songs, recording his own version of popular songs in keys that made them easier for casual singers. That's about the start of this. Cosmos, a song by Momoe Yamaguchi, 1977. The 19th annual Japan Record Awards took place in the Imperial Garden Theatre in Chiyoda, Tokyo on December 31st, 1977. Starting at 7 p.m. Japan Standard Time, that's the time it started. The primary ceremonies were televised in Japan TBS, that's a television channel that they have. Yamaguchi received the Best Singing Award for a song Cosmos, and he's a Japanese former singer, actress, and idol whose career lasted from 1972 to 1980, often simply referred to by a given name, Momoe. Yamaguchi is one of the most successful singers of Japanese music and retired at the height of her popularity and often referred to as the legendary idol of Japan. UFO, another song by Pink Lady. Pink Lady is not one person but two persons by 1973. UFO South Park is a great hit album by Japanese duo Pink Lady. You can see them both there in the thing, one in the blue and one in the red. Released on June 1st, 1979. It features the duo singles from Pepper Keibu to Pink Typhoon in the Navy, as well as their accompanying B-side songs. UFO is about a woman falls in love with a man she describes as out of this world. With a total of 1 crore 95 lakhs sales. UFO was Pink Lady's biggest selling single and spent 10 consecutive weeks at the top of the Japanese singles chart. According to Oricon, UFO was the best-selling singles in 1978 and the duo's third consecutive million-selling singles. Now you know the reason why they're all in this 20th Century Stamp series. Then launch of Kinpachi Sensei television series. Again, this is very interesting about this teacher. Kinpachi Sensei is a Japanese television drama. The official English title is Mr. Kinpachi in Class 3B. Kinpachi Sensei tells the story of a third-year junior high school class in Japan. Its teacher is Kinpachi Sakamoto, played by Tetsuya Takeda. The series has a lot of social commentary on issues that put extreme pressure as well as to make people to do well in school. So that's why they normally say, Kyoiku Mama in Japan, the mothers are more worried about their wards studying very well, so they put pressure on I don't know how far it is true, but they all say the mothers are the backbone of then a daughter study. The series began in 1979, a pivotal year when the issues such as delinquency and campus violence were high, and Kimpai Sensei attempts to resolve such problems using a blend of charisma, honesty, humor, and wit. That is about this series. And popularity of synthesizer music. Synth pop is a short term of synthesizer pop and called techno pop, is a subgenre of a new wave music that first became prominent in late 1970 and features the synthesizer as a dominant musical instrument. It is prefigured in 1960 and 1970 by the use of synthesizers in progressive rock, electronic, art rock, disco, and particularly krautrock of bands and Kraftwerk. It arose as a distinct genre in Japan in the post-punk era as a part of the new wave movement in the late 1970s to the mid 1980s. Electronic musical synthesizer that could be used practically in recording studio became available in mid 1960 and mid 1970 saw the rise of electronic art musicians. Then you all, most of you may also remember this teleseries called Oshin. This is a television drama. It was also televised in India. Okay, they had a long run in India also, and people used to get stuck to the screen, seeing the way Lady Oshin used to go, all the suffering, how there she is. Maybe Oshin has triggered our movie serial to make people to keep on crying all the time. I do not know. Oshin is a serialized morning television drama. In 297, a 15 minutes episode follows the life of Oshin Tanokura during the Meiji period to the early 1980s. It's one of the country's most watched series of all time, and has had 68 other countries. And India was also one, with subtitles ranging from English to Arabic. Oshin is a serialized morning television drama. Asadora is what you call in Japanese, which originally aired in NHK from 83 April 4th and March 84, 1 year, for 13 minutes, 6 days a week. Then we have the series 16 is there, and that is again 22nd November 2000. It has got one Saturn and also an odd shaped stamp is there, a pentagonal stamp you can see with a star inside. Now they are trying to make this full sheets containing this sort of odd type stamps inside. Most of these stamps are never sold as single piece. If I want an octagonal stamp with a star inside, they don't tear it and give it to you, but you may have to buy the full sheet in the post office. So you can see odd shaped stamps that are popping up in Japan Postal Series, this one, and even in Letter Writing Week, all that you have the similar situation thing. Now you can see the Ampan man and the two stamps together as a Saturn. Let's see, look at that. Inception of J League Football 1993. The J League 1993 season was the inaugural season of the J League Division 1. The league figures began on May 15, 1993 and ended on December 15, 1993. First ever Santuri Championship took place in the following year, January 9, January 16, 1994. 10 clubs participated in the J League during 1993 season. J League is a big football business in Japan. There were 4 awards: one most versatile player MVP, best starting player, best rookie, best manager, and best 11. Anpan Man. Okay, you can see the Saturn Anpan Man with his team. A launch of children's TV program called Sureke Anpan. This is a very favorite program. So you can see in the morning when it is there, Children don't even move out of the TV screen. Hanpan Man is a Japanese children's superhero picture book series written by Takashi Yanase, running from 1973 until the author's death, 2013. The series has been adapted into anime entitled Soreike Hanpan Man, which is one of the most popular anime series among young children of Japan. Hanpan Man is a superhero with Hanpan, a red bean paste filled pastry. It's called Hanpan. Pan is bread. Hanpan is red bean paste filled with pastry for a head, who protects the world from evil man called a Viking Man. Okay. Viking Man is the evil man with whom he protects. Halley's Comet, it appeared once in 76 years in 1986. Halley's Comet, also known as 1P Halley, is the most well-known comet in solar system. As a periodic, one short-term comet, it has orbital period that is less than 200 years and has therefore been observed more than once by people here on Earth over the centuries. Completion of Seiken Tunnel, Japan's 53.85 Seiken runway tunnel, a big engineering marvel. Tunnel passes through beneath the Tsugaru Strait between the main island Honshu and Hokkaido, okay, Naomori Prefecture, between Honshu Island, Hokkaido Island. I happened to travel along with my friend Gopal on this, with this track located 140 meters below the seabed. The Seiken Tunnel is world's deepest and longest railway tunnel. Approximately 23.3 kilometers of the tunnel lies under the seabed, making it the world's longest undersea tunnel. Conceptual planning of the Seiken Tunnel was completed during 1939-40. The tunnel construction began in 1971, was completed in 1988. Okay, and then Paleolithic site 1989, Iseki, the Shinogari Iseki Paleolithic site is the name of the large complex Yoyogi archaeological site in Yoyogiri, Kansai and Saga Prefecture in Kyushu, which is very well known for two things: great winds and its balloon competition, apart from so many other things. Okay. According to the UAE chronology established a pottery set, okay, in 20th century, the Shinogiri dates to between 3rd century BC and 3rd century AD. However, recent attempts use absolute dating methods such as AMS radiocarbon dating have shown that this earliest Yoyo component of Yoyonogiri dates between 400 before Christ. This archaeological site is one of the great importance in Japanese and world prehistory because the massive size of the important nature of the settlement and the artifacts which are found there. Misora Hibari was a singer and actress who symbolized post-war era of Japan during her career spanning for over 40 years. She recorded 1,500 songs, including 517 original songs. The style of music she sang was enka, the olden type. She received many awards, among them Living National Treasure in Japan. She is regarded one of the greatest singers of all time. She was the first woman in Japan to receive the People's Prize of Honor, which is awarded to her Nobel contribution to the music industry. Then Iko Hirayama is a Japanese Nihonka painter. Nihonka painter is a Japanese style painting. Born in Setodacho, Hiroshima Prefecture, he was famous for Japanese Silk Road painting of dreamy desert landscape in Iran, Iraq, and China. He produced series of paintings depicting introduction of Buddhism in Japan and Hibakusha are people who were affected by the atomic bomb attack in Hiroshima. He was also active in preservation of cultural heritage of the world, like Burmese Buddhas, and is internationally appreciated for his efforts in this sphere. Hirayama was awarded the French Legion d'Honneur in 1996 and Japan's Order of Cultural Merit in 1998, amongst others. He was the president of Tokyo University of the Arts and Music and president of the Japanese National Commissioner of UNESCO. The Prix Hirayama is awarded by the Academy description of Belize letters for distinguished contribution to scholarship in Asia. And the last series is number series. You can see there's the odd-shaped stamp again here, a football stamp. Now let's look into this series that is released in 2000. A wedding of Crown Prince Naruhito and Wada Masako. Okay, now Crown Prince Naruhito now has become the Emperor of Japan. Crown Prince Naruhito, Japan's engagement to diplomat Masako Wada was announced in January 1993. The pair had become engaged Masako's 29th birthday, December 9, 1992. Masako finally accepted Naruhito's proposal on his third attempt, as she had turned him down twice because she did not want to give up her career in diplomacy. The wedding took place on June 9, 1993. It was declared as a national holiday, and Kashiko Dokoro, one of the three sanctuaries of Imperial Palace ground. Crown Prince Naruhito wore a traditional orange robe that dates back to Heian era, and Masako wore a 30-pound silk robe called the Juni Hitoe, that took 3 hours to put on. Hanshin Awaji earthquake 19, the greatest earthquake, Kobe earthquake, what they call, occurred in 1990, January 17, at the morning 5:46 hours. The southern part of Hyogo Prefecture, Japan, including the region known as Hanshin. It measured 6.9 in the moment magnitude scale and had a maximum intensity of 7 on the Japan seismic intensity scale. The tremors lasted for approximately 20 seconds. The focus on the earthquake was located 17 kilometers below the epicenter on the northern end of Awaji Island, 20 kilometers away from the center of the city of Kobe. Then popularizing mobile phone. Japan is one country where mobile phone is tremendously popular. You can see street corners, people are selling mobile phones, and there are so many different packages available. Hardware is given free, provided you buy a software package. So Japan is the leader, and the mobile phone, even before all the smartphones, you can do everything with you. You can buy your train tickets and all that. Okay, GPS navigation, whatever you say. Japan mobile phones were some of the first widely adopted features such as internet browsers, games, cameras, television, electronic wallets, train passes, okay, GPS navigation, music players, everything. So, they also offered excellent packages that made it very popular. Then, first appearance of a Japanese astronaut in the NASA mission 1992, Mamoru Mark Mori. Okay, Mamoru Mark Mori. Mori Mamoru was 1948 born and is a Japanese scientist, former NASA astronaut, a veteran of 2 NASA space shuttle missions. He is the first Japanese astronaut, was a part of the official Japanese space program. He flew his first space mission abroad, STS-47, in 1992 as chief payload specialist at Space Lab J. Mori subsequently made another trip to space as a part of mission in 2000. The Winter Olympics 1998, officially known as the 18th Winter Olympic Game and commonly known as Nagano 1998, was a winter multi-sport event held in 1998, 7 to 22 February in Nagano. Some events taking place nearby mountain community. The city of Nagano had previously been a candidate to host 1940 Winter Olympics, which was later cancelled, as well as 1972 Olympics, but has been eliminated on the national level by Sapporo on both occasions. Okay. Nagano was selected to host 1998 Games on 15th June 1991. This is the second Winter Olympics to be held in Japan and the third Olympic Games overall after the 1964 Summer Olympics and 1972 Winter Olympics in Sapporo. The 1998 Winter Olympics succeeded by the 1998 Winter Paralympics from May to 14 February. You can see the pattern and the Saturn and stamp is there, 56 by 37 millimeters and commemorative, and again photogravure printing, beautiful, simple but very beautiful, elegant design. First Japanese astronaut on spacewalk. The first Japanese astronaut to conduct spacewalk was Dr. Takeo Doi on Columbia's STS-87 mission on November 1997. Mr. Doi was the first non-American abroad US spacecraft to walk in space. Mission specialist Takao Doi joined the crew in Space Shuttle Columbia for a 16-day mission to pave way for the international project to build space station starting in November 1997. Japanese participation in football, World Cup football in France. Okay, Japan has appeared in the finals of the FIFA World Cup 7 occasions, first being in 1998 when they lost all 3 group games and finished 31 in position. Masahiki Nakayama scored Japan's first ever goal in World Cup finals against Jamaica on June 1998 in a 2-1 defeat. Honda became the first Japanese player to score 3 World Cups, 2010, 14, and 2018. They'll make their 7th appearance in the finals of 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar. In the 2018 World Cup, Japan became the first ever Asian nation to beat a side from South America. Then Kyoto Conference on Climate Change, 1997. Kyoto Protocol for Elimination. Protocol is an international treaty adoption in 1997 that aimed to reduce emission of gases that contribute to global warming. The protocol called for reducing emissions of 6 greenhouse gases in 41 countries plus European Union to 5.2% below 1990 levels. The Kyoto Climate Change Conference opened in Kyoto in 1997 with a series of statements urging governments to move beyond long-standing negotiating position, begin to take serious steps to reach the agreement. The campus issued to commemorate this event. Then official poster for Nagano Olympics 1998, emblem a flower with each petal representing the athlete participating in a winter sport, and which can also be seen as a snowflake symbolizing Winter Olympics. Poster, 5 kinds of official posters and 7 sport-specific posters were printed. In addition, for the first time in Olympic Winter Games, a special poster was created for the opening ceremony. It shows a thirst, a bird called thirst, perched on a ski pole at the mountain in the light of dawn, evoking the concept of harmony with nature. The poster created was designated the official poster of the 18th Olympic Winter Games to preserve for posterity. Thank you all very much. If I've taken a little more time than the 1 hour, I'm sorry about it because we had to complete this series today. I'm sorry. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.